Today on Good Morning Alderaan.
Corrections from last week.
Clean sheet, bitches!
George Lucas is back in the writer's room.
Strap in for some more stilted dialogue.
Did he say strap in or strap on?
The Bad Batch finds a release date of May 4th.
May the 4th be with you! Get it? Like they say in the movie.
Republic Commando video game returns from the dead.
Nice try, Disney, but can't keep Boss, Fixer, Scorch, and Sev down.
Will fans be okay with George Lucas writing?
Hey, Andy, your mom said I could come over. Are you still using your Bestman cloud car?
Who is that?
Ryan, hang on. I'm doing a thing.
Yeah,
Give me a second.
Yeah, but she said I could.
Shut the fuck up. Find out now on
Good Morning Alderaan.
That's my line.
Hello there.
He's no good to me dead.
We're fine. We're all fine here now. How are you?
I think you'll fill in nicely.
This is where the fun begins.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for news, reviews, and interviews from your favorite galaxy far, far away. My name is Pat. Don't call me Padawan Collins. And here's my co-host, the mayor of Alderaan himself. And who's that with you there?
So it's Andy Hanlon here. I am still the mayor. I am not being impeached or kicked out of my throne. So just put that out there.
Right.
But this is my my cousin Ryan.
Ahoy.
Related through family.
Through our mothers.
Yes.
Yeah. It's usually how it works.
Family cousins.
Family cousins.
We're family cousins.
Ah.
Yeah.
Legally family cousins.
Wow.
By law and blood.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Whoa, hang on. I got another guest in the studio here coming in. Hey, it's me. It's the president of podcasting, the prime minister of podcasting. It's a constitutional monarchy. So your numbers, boys, your numbers haven't been great. Okay, you're losing your flair, you're losing your edge. So you said you want to be the Blink 182 of podcasting. How many people does Blink 182 have in it?
182?
Close. But we're going to start with one at a time and add a third. So I got on the phone with Andy's mom and said, "Who's good?" And she said, "I have the perfect boy." He's a very charming young man who loves his Star Wars. Hang on, I got to get out of here. Pat wants the microphone back. And this character isn't nearly as funny as I thought it would. So bye. Oh, sorry. I think I just stormed his way out of here. The
I didn't
mayor
know Gilbert
is awful.
Gottfried was the prime minister of podcasting.
It's he must moonlight.
That or Michael Scott's Greek character Mykonos.
I always thought the president of podcasting was Joe Rogan, but
Yeah.
I guess not, at least.
maybe Joe Rogan is more like a title than like an actual
Biz
person.
Nasty from Spittin' Chicklets.
Yeah, he's on the council for sure. But Ryan,
Yes.
hey buddy,
How's it going? Thanks for having me here.
thank you for coming. So, how about we start out with some of your Star Wars wisdom? Initially, I was gonna have a nice little quiz for you, but we were even gonna do that thing from Monty Python, but I don't even think that's not even necessary at this point. So, tell us a little bit about your opinion of Star Wars as a whole. So, our first episode, Andy and I talked about just our favorite bits, what drew us to Star Wars in the first place, what made us fall in love with it, and maybe you could share that with us.
The sex.
Yeah, there's a lot of the erotica, a lot of the no. I guess I know I got into Star Wars like as long as I can remember. Like probably I think the first memory I have was there was an Ewok cartoon show. I don't know if you remember in the 80s. There was an Ewok cartoon show, and that was the first thing I watched of Star Wars, and that brought me into watching Return of the Jedi. I used to watch Return of the Jedi like over and over again when I was like 5. And then I kind of fell off Star Wars until the special edition came out in 97. And then like I became obsessed with like seeing them all in the theater, and then was just got really into like the behind the scenes and like the everything about it. I used to read like Star Wars Insider magazine, and then when the prequels happened, like watched all the prequels too. I just loved it.
Yes, I recall that I actually just posted a video on our Instagram of the intro song of the Ewok, where the
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Just posted that the other day. Just a little walk down memory lane for everybody, because I too love the Ewoks and those Ewok Battle for Endor, Caravan of Courage movie that today I just posted a splice of Sindel and Noah when they're dancing and singing.
I don't think I realized till years later that like that was a separate movie. I remember like vividly thinking, I'm pretty sure like there's an old man and a little kid in Return of the Jedi. Like I swear, like where are they? And that was a totally different movie.
Yeah, like they were just like these obscure kind of just VHS. I don't know if they were made for TV initially, or
I don't think I've ever seen it since I was like 6 or 7, but I remember it quite vividly.
Oh, I did a rewatch a couple of weekends ago, and the first one is almost unwatchable, but the second one has its moments for sure, with Wilford Brimley just yelling at the kid.
That's right. Yeah.
And there's a scene where you can YouTube it. Does Wilford Brimley say "fuck" in Ewoks? And there's a scene where he like zaps his finger on a control panel and he goes "fuck." Ah. It doesn't quite sound like it when you get it all zoomed in or whatever. But yeah, so a love of the Ewoks brought you in.
It was my gateway drug.
Well, it's funny, and like that kind of sums up the Star Wars conflict, I guess you could say, perfectly. You get, because so many people, you hear about maybe a generation right before us perhaps, hated Return of the Jedi because they're thinking, what are these ridiculous little Ewoks? And like, what are they doing? This, like, they couldn't overthrow a galactic empire. You can't win a battle with like stones and spears and, stone hatchets versus lasers and Imperial walkers and all that. It just like seems utterly ridiculous. But then you get like in and around our generation who were very young or not even born when these movies came out. Yeah. And the first memories are like, oh, Ewoks, like giant walking teddy bears. Awesome. And that's your gateway into Star Wars. Yeah. And then kind of go fast forward a little bit, you get the prequels where you get like Jar Jar Binks and the Clone Wars thinking, and then it's like, oh, it's a cartoon. Star Wars can't be a cartoon. Star Wars it's action, it's Jedi, it's lightsabers. And now people growing up, it's like Clone Wars is almost a must watch nowadays to really get all of the little bitty bits that is in the current Star Wars media. So it's and with the dislike of a lot of the sequel trilogy these days, again, as a population general, not everybody disliked them for sure, but what's 10 to 15 years down the line, what are the kids who watch these movies, what are they going to say, and what's their story going to be as far as their intro into Star Wars? So very interesting for sure.
Absolutely.
It's funny, we talked about our intro into Star Wars, and I think I had said that my first ever Star Wars that I watched was Episode 1. But my first, I didn't say this in the first podcast, but I remember this now because Ryan's on with us. I remember, and maybe this is why Luke Skywalker I like Luke Skywalker. I love Luke Skywalker. But maybe this is why he's not my favorite character. I remember Ryan, on one of his birthdays, we had a sleepover at his house.
There's some trauma here.
And Ryan, Ryan had other friends, which is fine. I have friends.
That's fine.
Outside the family. And I went over to sleep over with him and his other friends. And one of his friends proceeded to, like, essentially while we're all sleeping, attack us in our sleep with a green plastic Luke Skywalker lightsaber and just wailed on us and beat the shit out of us. And he was quite a bit. He was quite a bit larger.
He was a big lad.
He was a very big boy.
He was like a 40-year-old man at the age of 12.
Yes.
Wielding a lightsaber.
32.
Against,
So,
against a bunch of younglings.
Yeah, in the pitch black darkness, because there was like where we used to do the sleepover in the basement. There was just like this room that just had no windows, and it was so dark.
There's
So
a
you'd
clown.
never see it coming, and then you see this like green light like vroom, out of nowhere, like.
It was a creepy room too. I think it had like clowns or balloons or some shit on it.
It was the house. The people who owned the house before had kids and let them paint the walls with their hands. So there was handprints everywhere.
Jesus.
And some were red. There was like rainbow color, and then we tried to paint over it, but the paint was so thick that even though we sanded it, it still came through the paint, so you could kind of see little hands coming through the paint. It was terrifying.
Well, I could just picture that lightsaber illuminating, like that scene in Rogue One where Vader just in that dark hallway, open fire.
Well, it's like this guy knew what George Lucas was going to do in episode 3. Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?
You're supposed to be asleep.
Anyway,
I can't wait for more. Down the line they're gonna have like a rated R Star Wars movie. I just wonder what that's gonna look like.
I'm telling you, Obi-Wan Kenobi series, the head of Jar Jar Binks sacrificed on a spit.
On a spit.
Happening.
Who's gonna eat a Gungan?
I could see Obi-Wan trying to pull off that ear, just like it just keeps stretching. He's just trying to eat it like a drumstick, and the ear just keeps stretching.
I picture that like
I'm so
dehydrated,
Jar Jar.
like a pig's ear. Like dogs just go nuts for these things. So
I can see Watto just being super hungry.
he just looks so tantalizing.
Gungan here, huh? Gungan.
Nubian.
It's good with a little salt.
Nubian, huh? Nubian.
Well,
Little Annie.
Ryan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so
you.
much for joining us. We greatly look forward to your insight. I know you've got quite the barrel of theories coming as a result of all this sweet new Mandalorian stuff coming in, and we're looking forward to seeing some more of your insight. And you picked the perfect episode to join us as well, because we're overall going to be chatting about Mandalorian Season 2. But first, what's in the headlines? Pipe in whenever you want here, gentlemen. But first headline that we have here.
No corrections.
No corrections. We don't have
That's
any
a headline.
corrections.
That
That
we
is
know
a
of.
headline. Yeah, there might
we
be a
know of.
correction, but like we were just so excited for Ryan coming on that we just didn't really pay much attention to our diligence. Fast forward. George Lucas, is he back in the writer's seat? Rumor has it from Deseret.com that he is indeed writing again for Star Wars. His baby that he packaged and sold to Kathleen Kennedy. Now he's back writing for it. What do you guys think about that?
Is he broke?
He did donate most of that money to charity, apparently. So
I wonder if he just misses it, because I know like he kind of was disillusioned with like what happened with the prequels and how much hate it got, and that's kind of why he didn't want to do it again. But I think he's been brought behind the scenes for a lot of the Mandalorian, so he probably saw like the goodwill that's been earned from that, and was kind of like, oh, maybe I could step back in the writing chair again.
yeah, like there's a scene in the Star Wars Gallery, which is like the behind the scenes of the Mandalorian. It's on Disney Plus, and I can't remember if it's season 1 or season 2. I think it's season 1, where George Lucas visits the set and they put Baby Yoda in his arms. And he's just like holding it like his little baby, and then
Favreau.
everyone's taking pictures with their phones. Favreau hands it to him.
Favreau puts it in his arms and is like, oh, it's Grandpa.
It's your great grandpa or something like that. Like I'm wondering if it was just if that was what he needed to just like push him over the edge. Like visit the set, smell the the scent of the whole set coming alive like that. Like we heard from some of those stormtroopers also in that gallery when they first came around the corner and they're on the set of Star Wars, like they just felt like they were in another world completely. So I'm wondering if like George Lucas getting transported back like that, if he's just like, I got to do this. I can't sit in the sidelines anymore. Coming out for one more game.
One of my favorite moments from that documentary was Favreau talking to George Lucas, and he pointed out, Mando's gun, like I forget what it's called. It's like the forked gun. And he's like, see that? That was in the holiday special. And like everyone knows how much George hates the holiday special. And he just like didn't even, he's like, yeah, I know. And, like barely even acknowledged it. I was so excited to point it out. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Oh, shit. Yeah, well, like George Valanche said, like every time there's a new piece of Star Wars media that comes out, it's just like a little scab that gets picked where he's just like,
Yeah.
Correction.
what?
Bruce Valanche.
What'd I say? George Valanche?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. George Lucas.
No.
This is me catching corrections in real time.
on the fly, so we don't have to.
We should just litter this with wrong things just to make that hard work next time.
Oh, this would be like one of those most frustrating videos, you know, where people cut the triangle of the pizza out of the middle, or they like hammer a nail, but then they bend it, like just make it as most frustrating as possible for the listener. No, that'd be fucking terrible. Oh shit. Okay, so it's apparently for the series Andor, if I didn't mention that already, that George is writing a couple episodes. Kind of an odd choice, I think, for him writing into Star Wars again. Maybe it's just like that kind of soft entry for him, as opposed to like something a little bit that'll further the Star Wars plot a little bit. Because Andor, I think, no, they did talk about a season 2 of that, because K2SO is not going to be in it apparently. So they are talking about a season 2. Because I was wondering, is it a limited series? Is it like a one-off?
Yeah.
But like, I'm curious as to why George would come in that series as opposed to something like Ahsoka or, even Lando kind of thing, just to further the plot, or Rangers of the New Republic.
Andor is taking place just before Rogue One. Is that what we're assuming?
Yes, leading up to in the events leading up to it, I think so. Probably maybe a couple years in advance, but.
I guess it could be kind of like the start of the Rebels, and like I'm sure George had ideas of how that was meant to start out.
Maybe we'll see Jar Jar Binks in Andor.
You have got to stop with your bloodlust for Jar Jar fucking Binks.
Leave Jar Jar alone.
He's already dead. Leave him alone.
Do we know, will Jimmy Smits be in it?
That's a good question.
I hope so.
Me too. I
feel like there's some potential because of the timeline. Like, it might give George Lucas something nice to ease himself into.
Mm-hmm.
If there's not like a lot of like Jedi lightsaber stuff in it, like it might give him something easy to kind of ease himself back into it, but also have like in terms of timeline, some familiarity between the prequels and the originals. So you may see some similar characters like Jimmy Smits or Jar Jar, or
well, it probably lines up in and around the time of Star Wars Rebels as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're likely going to see some cross live action characters with that.
So what about Ian McDiarmid?
Some Emperor.
And not necessarily an Andor. I'm kind of going Rogue 3 on this. But like, what about Ian McDiarmid making an appearance in one of these shows in the timeline? I feel like it would be stupid not to use him in one of these shows.
I think I've heard is Hayden Christensen coming back as well for this? Do you think?
Ooh, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
That would line up. Like, this is the time where Vader's probably starting to get like this is right when he's starting to get hot to trot for hunting down the rebels.
It would be beautiful. It would be beautiful for him to be in it, because it would kind of almost set up the Obi-Wan series. Like, they could use it as a way to kind of set up Obi-Wan. Because I don't think we should like not think of that as a possibility, right?
Yeah, and Leia knew to contact Obi-Wan on Tatooine, right? So they knew he was there,
right?
So which he could have been working with the rebels, right?
Right, which we find out end of Rogue One, because there's a spot where Organa, Jimmy Smits in Rogue One, talks to, what is it, Mon Mothma? And says, she's like, your friend, the Jedi. And she's like, he's like, I'll send for him. And then that's when he's like sending the message with Leia, right?
There must be some kind of like update that Obi-Wan's always sending, because you think this is 19 years have passed. What's to say he wouldn't have moved on? Like, this guy's exiled himself. He did say, I'll look after him on Tatooine, but like, is that it? Like I'll look after him. Trust me. I'll call you when he's a Jedi.
Some really detailed log about Luke's upbringing.
Yeah.
Boy,
Or is he
he's
just
blossoming. He's becoming a man.
He's gluten intolerant.
I'm starting to see why Herbert the Pervert was portraying Obi-Wan in the Family Guy series. Like, he's really starting to come into his own. Filling them britches.
He's spending a lot of time alone in his room.
Looks like the upside of Carl's Bat Cavern in there. But, yeah, so... Go and save the galaxy. Oh, I'm the damsel. No, I'm just kidding. It's just practice. But
I got some power converters for you.
Come on, meet me behind Tashi Station. This has been going on for far too long, but I don't want to stop.
That's all I hope Kenobi is. It's just him spying on Luke, and maybe doing some sketches and some paintings of him.
Yeah.
And then when Luke comes over for the first time, what are these? That's nothing. That's nothing. That's my art.
Don't come over between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time. That's Willie's time. But like, yeah, like, what's that really going to be like with him? I'll watch over him. Like, what does that mean? Is he just like hanging out in the bar looking for like scuttlebutt of people trying to find this obscure Skywalker who, for some reason, didn't change his last name? Like,
it went back to the same planet.
But there's a lot of sand there, so you know that, Anakin's got a thing against that. So, and now that he's Darth Vader, getting the sand out of that suit.
The thing is,
nightmare.
Answer this question. In all of the movies, not all the movies, in the original movie trilogy, other than Vader sensing that he is the son, or the Emperor saying to Vader, he is the son of Anakin Skywalker, search your feelings. Does anyone ever reference Luke as Luke Skywalker?
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you, or like anyone else other than Luke.
Okay, so does Luke say that to?
He says it to Leia,
Princess Leia.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to remember, right? Because I'm thinking like maybe he's just like a one-name wonder to most people, like Cher.
Just Luke.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
Like
Luke Lars on Tatooine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No. Well, I just posted that on Instagram last night too, in the deleted scene of A New Hope, where Luke goes to Tashi Station and he wears like a bucket hat and goggles on it, and he sees Biggs Darklighter there, and there's a couple other friends who are just like jostling him around. His nickname is Wormy. In that they call him Wormy.
Why?
I have no idea why. I'll play the audio for you right now. It's this one. Is the one girl in their group refers to him as Wormy. Listen.
Come on, shape it up, you guys. Hey! I know you were back. Just now. I never expected you to be on working. They tell me to change you. Oh, I almost forgot. There's a battle going on right here in our city. Not again. Forget it. What's all the noise? Come back down here and play the game. I think Wormy's cooked too much salmon.
Well, now you're in that nickname.
Hey, you watch it. Don't worry about it, Wormy.
They call him Wormy twice. Don't worry about it, Wormy. But yeah. So aside from that, Luke is pretty much what he's mostly known as or referred to as. Or Lando also calls it to him. Somebody named Skywalker. Luke. Lord Vader set a trap for him.
Right. Well, that's a plot hole I never really considered.
Yeah. Well, there you go. They don't call Ewoks in any of the, like, they don't refer to them as Ewoks in any of the.
I didn't even realize that the name Anakin isn't spoken until Return of the Jedi.
It's not in A New Hope?
And no, it's like the first time is you hear Obi-Wan say it. They may have re-edited it later for Empire Strikes Back, but yeah, the first time you ever heard the name Anakin is in Return of the Jedi.
Huh, interesting. There you go. There you go. So, yes, George Lucas back at the helm, back writing for the Star Wars universe. Very curious to see how that turns out. Bad Batch TV show got a date. May the 4th. How pro. So no real surprise there. We didn't really get much new information with that, aside from Loki getting a date too, I think in July, but that's not Star Wars. So
Loki? I thought Loki's March. Or no, Loki's August, I thought.
Sure.
Falcon
got a date.
Falcon Winter Soldier's March.
That's right. You're right.
But that's another podcast.
That's an
the other
astute
podcast.
observation, right?
Thank you.
Astute observation.
We're
that
like
another
this
Office reference?
all the time.
Yeah.
Do we care? Do we care about the Bad Batch?
I like it. It's like a continuation of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
There was a whole episode about that, right?
Yeah, there was like
there was an episode
2
of Clone
or 3
Wars about
episodes, I think, with the first couple episodes of the new season that just came out. So it's it's something for the Clone Wars enthusiasts and lovers, and I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the series. It's not one that I rewatch really on a regular basis at all, but it's there for those fans, and I'm sure it will further the plot and likely link into the Rangers of the New Republic. I'm guessing anyways, but there we go. But who knows what's happening with that, with Miss Gina Carano and that, but we've talked about her enough. Moving right along. If you're a fan of the Republic Commando video game, I know I was. My brother got it for Christmas one year, and I...
we're not going to rat on... We're not going to give Steve a hard time again, are we?
No. He's already texted me back and forth saying, thanks for the half-assed apology last week, you dick. So I've made my peace with him. But Ryan, my brother lives in London, England, so I can talk shit about him. And
That's fine. That's fair.
Well, actually, no, he complains to me to my mom, and then my mom lives around the corner, so still got to be nice to him, but whatever.
Did Steve say anything about my non-apology? Not even half-assed. Like, I think half-assed apology.
I've not had a full conversation. I've not had a full conversation with him about it yet, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he was referring to in the half-assed. In the one half apology was from me, and the other half was not from you.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So maybe that was it. But yes, he had a rather comical sunburn, Ryan, that's stuck with him for a while. So
yeah.
He's,
years and years and years.
The legend lives on.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very committed for sure.
We talked about it for years anyway.
We did. It really faded within like a couple of weeks, but in all of our minds, we were like, yeah, he had it for like 4 years.
Yeah, it felt like he had it for 4 years.
Yeah. It's kind of like, anyways. Republic Commando, that old video game, if you're a big fan of that, that is getting re-released on PlayStation 4, Xbox, and I think reverse playability on Switch, maybe, as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. That was one of my favorite video games growing up. It was the first video game that you kind of saw things from a clone point of view, and they were like super clones as well. And it was this team of 4 that were these like super infiltrator kind of things. Like, I thought the Bad Batch should have been these 4 guys. It was kind of like them a little bit, where one guy's like the pyro expert, the other guy's like the computer whiz, and the other guy's like the boss, and it's kind of like Ninja Turtles in a way, a little bit too, but in clones. So
are they updating like the graphics and the gameplay, or is it like just like a re-release?
I think it's just a re-release and just like putting it. Well, it was only for Xbox when it first came out, so I'd imagine there'd be some cleaning up of it to kind of jive with today's systems and graphics and all of that. But I think Disney is finally getting wise to capitalizing on the nostalgia of this franchise, as opposed to making new things. that people are apparently not biggest fans of, taking risks like that. Instead, just like spit polish the old shit and send that out for them. And that's what people are buying. That's what people are going
I'm waiting for the re-release of Yoda Stories. That was always a fun one. I used to play on a PC. It was horrible gameplay.
Yoda Stories. I never played that one.
It was like a top-down view, and you had to solve these little puzzles and stuff, and you walk around and like open up things, and like it was bad. But I played it a lot.
Hey, well, that's just it, right? It's whatever keeps you engaged and clicking. So, but that's what these things do, and that's why they released, Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 on like mobile devices, just to keep people clicking away now. So it's they're just packaging it and repurposing it for a new audience, and it's seems to be working because it's got a lot of headlines for all of this nostalgia packaging and everything. But anyways, that's all the news we have for this week. So let's get into Mando Season 2. So we came off a very, very good cliffhanger of Season 1 with the Darksaber stabbing through and Giancarlo Esposito standing nice, tall, and proud in his half-assed Vader outfit with the whole-ass Darksaber getting wielded. And
Does Giancarlo Esposito always play a bad guy?
I think pretty much.
Yeah.
On The Boys, Breaking Bad. What else?
The Boys, Breaking Bad. He was in a show. God, what was it called? It was a J.J. Abrams project after Lost, and it was like a post-apocalyptic kind of thing where the power goes out. It's like a surge. Power surge, like some sort of event happens.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
It was on NBC. It was J.J. Abrams. It was like 1 or 2 seasons. I actually watched it. I thought it was pretty decent, but they ended up just canceling it out of nowhere. But he played a villain in that too.
He was the leader of another faction in that show.
Yeah. What was that called?
Did it start with a P? I can't remember.
Felicity.
We can keep going about Mando, but
I
will.
Alias.
I will look it up.
The Jamie Kennedy experiment. So it was quite the drop, getting the Darksaber brought in that kind of linked officially, fully, the Clone Wars series. Of course, there's like smatterings and sprinklings, but this was like the first real tangible that I can really remember anyways, the first item of significance that transferred from the animated project to the live action series. So it was I was like on pins and needles getting ready for the Mandalorian Season 2, fully knowing that I'd have to wait like a full 2 months to get the full story out of it with the weekly releases and all that. But what were your thoughts there, Ryan?
For Season 2?
Yeah, just overall, what were your...
I love Season 2, and what I like the most about it is I feel like they really laid the groundwork in Season 1. They kind of like built up these new characters and this new kind of story, so that when they brought in those nostalgic nods, they were earned. So it wasn't like, I feel like it wouldn't have worked if Boba Fett showed up in Season 1.
Well, he kind of did, didn't he?
It was a teaser.
You didn't know. But you didn't know for sure. But I feel like there was a lot of stuff that they brought in Season 2.
I'm just being a dick.
Fuck you, Hanlon. We knew.
I knew it was him.
He's still real to me, damn it.
This is the advantage. The true advantage of a Blink-182 style 3-person podcast is now I can say stupid shit and interrupt people and make jokes and get away with it.
Yes.
This is my new niche.
Just sit in the back, eating your M&Ms and sucking your teeth and inserting a shitty little comment every once in a while.
Wrong. Incorrect.
What's your source?
I do agree with Ryan, though, on the them earning the nostalgic pieces. I'll let you continue on, but I totally agree with that statement.
No, I just felt like they built upon the world they already made, and then they brought in like all of our favorite elements. I know you guys talked about it before, but I feel like Mandalorian really brought me back into Star Wars again, because I feel like the sequel trilogy kind of burned me a bit, and I was just like, ugh. And even when they announced the show, I was like, I guess, like, I don't know what this is, like, and then it just like brought me like right back, and especially this last season, they just shoving those memberries down your throat. I just loved it.
Oh, baby. It was just like, yeah. It's just pockets full of those. I remember that. I remember that.
But it was earned and it was organic to the story.
It was.
It wasn't like that. What's his name? Ponda Baba showing up in Rogue One for no reason at all. It's like, how did he get off the planet fast enough?
Yeah.
But
it's like, at least they tried, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, they must have been hopping on the bus to get to Tatooine from there.
Yeah. But yeah, because I don't know, it was just great. Like everything made sense, especially like that final episode. Like, of course it was Luke. Like, who else could it be? There's like not many Jedi around, so.
Yeah, it still had me wondering until he had the lightsaber. I was trying to look at his lightsaber, like I was trying to like zoom in, or I wasn't like stopping and pausing and doing it, but like while I was watching it, I was trying to get like a fast glimpse. Like, is that Luke? Is that actually Luke? I need confirmation that it's actually Luke and not like. You know, hey, I'm Kyle Katarn or something obscure like that. That it's actually Luke Skywalker himself. But as you said, though, it was completely organic and relevant. The only thing that kind of caught me up, and again, this is like immediately in the moment, is when he takes on Grogu, and he's like, "Well, that's his apprentice right there now."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, wait a minute. Everything I've read up until now says that Ben Solo was his first apprentice. Where's he at in all of this? So that's what I'm looking forward to is season 3, checking out what that relationship is. Or will they even mention that?
I don't know if they'll go there in season 3. I feel like season 3 is going to focus a lot on like the Mandalore stuff and the Battle of Mandalore, and then Bo-Katan will have to face Din Djarin at some point to obtain the dark saber. Like, I feel like they're really going to try to take the show that direction. Obviously I think Grogu will reappear.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do like a leap forward or like a timeline jump to make him a little bit older when they eventually like reunite him with Din Djarin in the Mandalorian. I'm not really sure what will happen there. I hope we'll see Luke again. I'm hoping we'll also see some other characters like Ahsoka again, because I know the Ahsoka series is coming. But will they try to like circle back the Ahsoka series to Mandalorian at some point in future seasons? I mean, there's so many possibilities, right? Like, it's infinite what they could do with this.
Well, I heard that some of the plan was that some of these new spin-off shows, they're going to have like separate stories and then come together for like one big event, right? Like
kind of like Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a formula that works. Like Avengers was, and you know, it was a 20 movie commitment to get that full story, but like
it's story writing at its best, right?
You were rewarded by that ending, by that like, and again, it just makes sense from a business standpoint as well. You give people something over a long period of time, as opposed to like a quick 3 movie trilogy over 4 to 6 years, and then it's done kind of thing. Like, keep us on the hook, keep us giving us these like nice little, like, encourage us to do our homework and watch those additional series, watch those additional, you know, bits of content before coming to the movie theater. Hopefully we can all go to the movie theater soon and like get back into that vibe, but like kind of make it a cross media event, as opposed to just like relying on the movies, which is the formula of the past and kind of what the sequel trilogy did. And I think they kind of burned themselves a little bit, but maybe this is their plan all along to, you know, this is the ultra long game. Give us a trilogy that maybe is going to cause some controversy, and then intentionally circle back on that, get people reinvigorated with it. I highly doubt that was their idea.
Is the Book of Boba Fett coming out before Mandalorian season 3 or after? Or at the same time?
I believe
so.
So.
To come out like December this year.
And Mandalorian's January?
Mandalorian is just starting to film, I think, in March or April. And based on the other series, it's been almost exactly a year since they wrapped filming to when they to when the show was released. So logic would dictate it might be like a March or even April release for for Mando Season 3. Book of Boba Fett, though, is I believe currently filming, or already filmed and wrapped. But
Because they have so much in this like timeline, right? Like they have all these different pieces that'll eventually, like I think, like Ryan said, will it makes a lot of sense why it would come together. Like you have Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian. I don't know if there's anything that I'm missing there.
I do think I heard that the Boba Fett is going to be kind of like a its own thing though. It's like a single series. It's going to only be one season, and it's kind of like this one little story. So I wonder if Boba's going to make it out of it.
Right.
yeah, it's a good call. It could just be like a nice little bow on the Boba Fett character, just like give him one last hurrah kind of thing.
Right.
Maybe, anyways, which is disappointing to me because Boba Fett was one of my favorite characters in the expanded universe of the old, like Legacy of the Force series and all of the expanded universe of the novels.
Thank you, holiday special.
Oh, holidays! Thank you for birthing Boba Fett. But bless that womb. But Boba Fett had such a good, long, rich story where he did become the leader of Mandalore. He didn't live on Mandalore anymore because the atmosphere was poisoned somehow, or he became like allergic to Mandalore air. He was poisoned somehow, so he couldn't return to the planet. He had this wife, but he divorced her before, or sorry, he left her and the child like years before Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. And then the daughter comes back to find him or try to hunt him down. And the granddaughter gets involved too. It was this big, long, rich story that Boba Fett had. So I'm just hoping they embrace some of that anyways with the Book of Boba Fett. And if they are going to just wrap his character, then do good by him instead of just kicking him to a Sarlacc pit like they did in Return of the Jedi. But
yeah, I really hope it kind of goes. It's not just like after Return of the Jedi, or even like as the teaser started. Like I hope it goes back to his full history. Like, you know, what happened after his dad got his head chopped off.
Yeah.
Like,
oh,
then,
for
like,
sure.
How did he get out of the Sarlacc pit? Like, we still don't know that either.
yeah, for
Would it not be cool to see even a CGI version of Luke Skywalker again appear in Boba Fett?
Well, hopefully better than he did in this. That was my only gripe with this. It kind of ruined the moment a bit where you had the weird, like, oh,
yeah.
It's in black and white. There's...
It was a little bit choppy. Yeah, and you know, I was kind of prepared from that, like with Rogue One, I guess. It's like, okay, they're doing this now? Okay. So if I see like, you know, like another, I was going to say Han Solo, but I'd imagine they would get Aaron Emmerich, Alden Emmerich, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
New
guy.
Solo. I'd imagine he would come in, but like, as opposed to like a recasting, they would just do the face swap kind of thing on a lot of these legacy characters.
I mean, like Sebastian Stan has to play Luke Skywalker eventually.
Millie Bobby Brown as Leia as well.
Have you seen that deep fake of her?
Oh, so good.
It looks so real. And
So
like,
good.
I'm like, I was impressed. I'm like, she could totally do it.
Yeah, she's at like a good age for it as well.
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan, you know, he's no spring chicken. Unfortunately, time takes its toll on all of us. So if they are going to do anything with him, hopefully it's in like that sweet spot of the series where it's in that like 10 to 15 years after Return of the Jedi. So he kind of lines up with the age kind of thing. But totally, he could pull it off 100%. It's just a matter of timing of the story, hopefully.
Yeah.
But he is. Yes. But yeah, like Mando Season 2 just started off with a complete bang as well. Again, sucking on those member berries where Cobb Vanth is introduced, Timothy Oliphant.
I love Timothy Oliphant.
Oh, he's so good. He's the lawman. Like Sean Bean is the guy who dies in all movies.
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant is a lawmaker in all movies. He's the law. He's the sheriff. Always. Oh, and the title of the episode is even called The Sheriff.
Yeah.
Isn't he Danny Cordray in The Office?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Danny Cordray couldn't be here tonight.
I could send Meredith after him. But yeah, so like this is where I got like too nerdy in and of myself when Cobb Vanth is talking about how he got the Mandalorian armor. That's not how it happened in the book that I read. So that was my first instance where I was like, oh, Disney, you're gone, done, and you're messing with your own storyline, something you promised you wouldn't do, because how he got it in Chuck Wendig's Aftermath, I think it is. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like a little interlude chapter in there. He's essentially kind of similar, where I think he got run out of town by a bunch of this mining colony, but he was in an argument with this other guy to get it, and they kind of like drew at each other for it, as opposed to Timothy Oliphant just laying down and like pointing at it and going, over there, I want that, as he did in the show itself. Like how he acquired the armor was a lot less fun, I guess you could say, as it was in the book itself. However, everything in Star Wars can be shrugged away with from a certain point of view. You can just say like, yeah, I did point to the armor and say, I want that at some point. I just didn't tell you about that other shit. So this flashback was purely from his point of view of the story. It does nothing to do with whether or not it's truthful or not. It's just from his point of view, how he's telling the story. That's what's being illustrated right now, kind of thing. So, but aside from that, like, it was an amazing start to the episode, start to the series again, with like tons of action. You got to see the jetpacks fully going on the Mandalorians.
And he shot the rocket out.
Shot the rocket out. Like you saw finally what the little mailbox flag on top of his helmet in canon actually does. So like, yeah,
I also love that when you first see him in the armor, but I love how it didn't quite fit him right, because there's this moment when he steps in and you see him in the doorway and you're like, it's Boba Fett, and you're like, no, it's not. Yeah, like it's like not quite, like his torso is a little too long, and like
that's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He just, it just wasn't him. But you're like, I know that armor though. That's Boba. He got out. Which,
I thought that was all we were gonna get. I thought that was gonna be like, oh, this is how they nod Boba to Boba. It's just the armor. And at the very end, when you see Tamara Morrison, I'm like, oh,
it's Boba.
That's Boba.
Yeah, I did like awesome deep nerd research in that one episode where Fennec Shand, in season 1, where Fennec Shand is dead in the dead, presumed. I used bunny ears there, dead. And when you hear the footsteps clinking, it sounds like the spurs.
Yeah,
that is in Empire as well. When you hear Boba Fett walking down the hallway, you can hear those same spurs go clink, 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 which I would have never picked up on had I not like done my deep nerd research for it and everything. So that's where I was just like, oh, that's Boba Fett. It has to be. But well, again, you just don't know until you see it. And then, like you said, Ryan, when you get that teaser of the armor, you're just like, he's got to be alive. He's got to be. But you just don't know. But then Tamora Morrison turns his head with the gaffy sticks on his back, with the, that old sickler rifle that he had as well, just essentially dressed like a sand people, a Tusken Raider. It had my money right there. I was all in.
That episode where the slave one shows up, and that whole episode is like some of the best action in all of The Mandalorian.
Totally. Yeah. And they did that on site too, as opposed to that like wraparound screen. So you got that kind of full immersive environmental effect to it as well. You got to see him use the flamethrower, his, usual guns, his knee rockets, which no one knew that he had. And he just lit up that platoon of stormtroopers in such a way that could only be capped off by that seismic charge, right, as you say, in the getaway scene there. Whoom. But it was pretty bangarang for sure.
Yeah, the Bo-Katan episode was incredible. I will say, like, one negative thing though with season 2 is because you'd already had season 1, so the whole, side quest, meet a friend, and then in the end they all band together. You didn't really know that was the formula for season 1 because you were just kind of enjoying it. And I felt like it was a little more obvious in season 2. We're like, oh, another side quest episode. I wonder if this character's going to show up later, but I didn't care.
Yeah, the second episode.
Oh god,
I dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
I recently rewatched it and I was like, okay, it's better than I thought it was. I think I was just hungry for more plot development at the time, But rewatching it, it's like, okay, it's pretty fun action. You know, it's got some comedy bits. I love the controversy that was sparked over Grogu eating those eggs.
Oh, it was
a lot
brilliant.
of people online were just in
He's a
arms about
monster.
that. I'm thinking, how could you find comedy in Grogu
not
eating an
real.
endangered species eggs? It's like,
He's a baby. He has to eat.
he's hungry.
That saved the episode for me personally. With just the shots of him like
And just the rebel troop, the rebels fighters coming in. I like that side of it. The two fighters.
Filoni and the
Filoni and
Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, Kim's Convenience. That's it. I was trying to think of what he was from. Kim's Convenience.
It's my buddy.
Canadian.
Yeah, so I thought like that part was good. Grogu eating the eggs was good. There was definitely a couple down episodes, like moments in it, where it was just kind of.
Oh, when Grogu got the tragedy episode where Grogu got taken.
Oh,
I was not prepared for that.
No, I was very upset. I did not know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. I think too. What happened was when Bo-Katan, when he sees Bo-Katan and she references Ahsoka Tano, it's like you just want to get to that episode.
Yeah,
and the episode that followed that was still good.
Yeah, that
still,
was the siege.
It's a tragedy, wasn't that? That was the siege. Yeah,
the siege with
that's where they take him.
Yes, I believe so.
No, the tragedy is the one where they take him. The siege is the one with the Carl Weathers, and they go to.
That's right, Carl Weathers.
Base.
That base, and there's that sweet chase through the ravine or whatever.
Is that the Bill Burr episode?
No, that's a little bit later. Bill Burr is like the second last episode, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
But this
my
one is
timeline's
where
all screwed up.
They're going through a canyon.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, amazing chase scene. It had speeder bikes. It had the troop transport. Again, another amazing callback. This was
toys, right?
It was a toy, like a Kenner toy that had no relevance to the Star Wars theatrical releases whatsoever. But for some reason, like this toy just stuck out to Filoni or Favreau, and they were just like, "Yeah, I want to put this in there," and that became like a centerpiece of. It was in the previous season as well, but like having it in actual chase mode in this episode was absolutely amazing.
Carl Weathers actually directed that episode.
Oh, he did. That's right.
Yeah,
and Gene's guy was in that episode too.
Oh yeah, just off to the side.
Yeah, who I'm sure will be a fan favorite at conventions going forward.
He's gone now.
Yes, they've edited it out. Edited it out. But unfortunately, but yeah, Gene guy is just like Wilro Hood. He's just that side character that I'm sure we'll get all sorts of. If they ever make like a certain point of view of the Mandalorian, then I'm sure Gene's guy will be in there. But
I'll say, even though the ending of the finale was the best moment by far, I think the Ahsoka episode is the best episode of Mandalorian so far.
I would agree. I would totally agree.
It's like its own movie. It also looks amazing. Like, if you look at all the other episodes, like the style of it, like with the moon between the trees, and just like, I think Filoni was just planning this for so long just to get the chance to bring her to the like live screen or whatever.
And the whole fight scene with her at the end, like I just thought everything was well done with that. I totally agree. That's my most enjoyable episode of the entire season 2 is the Ahsoka, the Jedi.
That whole opening sequence too.
It's interesting they call it
cuts the tree and shoots the chunk of the tree out. It's just like so cool.
It's interesting they call it the Jedi though when she's actually not a Jedi. The name of the episode is Jedi or the Jedi, but she's technically not a Jedi.
True.
That's true. She's very gray. But maybe it's the fact that she's pointed him in the right path to find the Jedi.
Yeah,
that's reaching. That's fully reaching.
I guess he's looking for her, thinking she is the Jedi, right? Because Bo-Katan says, "I know someone," so he's going to her to talk about the Jedi, and the Jedi is also like plural, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, that could be taken in that respect, but yeah, interesting choice for sure. What do you guys think of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka?
Solid, just great.
Yeah, I thought she did a great job.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting though. I watch Clone Wars. I really liked her, but then I was rewatching some Clone Wars, and I'm thinking, should they have gone with someone a bit younger. But then I kind of like referenced the timeline. It makes sense. I kind of like circled right back to why Rosario Dawson made sense.
She's pretty much the perfect age, I think.
Yeah,
right?
like
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
Although-
I know. Like I had such an affinity for Ashley Eckstein and her job, and like she babied the character, and you know she felt it a little bit that she wasn't cast as the main person, especially when you get Katie Sackhoff, who is Bo-Katan. She did the voice of Bo-Katan in the series. You get Mickelson now. He is the voice of Thrawn, and he's reportedly playing the live-action Thrawn.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep the continuity as much as possible with a lot of these. So, and Ashley Eckstein is still like markets herself as Ahsoka Tano. Like a lot of her brand, her personal brand of things that she promotes and does is through the lens of like, I'm Ahsoka Tano kind of thing. And this is like, what would Ahsoka do kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Rosario Dawson just had that kind of commanding presence, that maturity and that wisdom kind of thing that you would associate with the age of the character as opposed to the young, vibrant Ashley Eckstein,
Yeah.
boppy,
She had like
youthful,
that feistiness to her where like
for sure.
you could tell Rosario's Ahsoka had this kind of like somberness to her. I guess like too, she's kind of like, she referenced Anakin in that episode, right? Like, you know, I've seen even the best of us fail. So I imagine she's a little more sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that in a previous episode when we were talking about Obi-Wan series about like, is there a possibility like who might make it into the Obi-Wan series? And obviously they can't put so many characters into it that just becomes like saturated with all these like old characters. But we talked about like the idea of Ahsoka and what like an Obi-Wan Ahsoka reunion would look like. And I think Pat, you had said like it would be super somber and depressing. Yeah.
The acknowledgement like their closest friend is
Their enemy and their traitor and
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
it's like Mark and Travis talking about Tom in Blink-182. It's just like, betrayed us all. What have you done?
Yeah, but if
Well,
you
that's-
watch,
You were the chosen one.
watch
Well,
Pursuit of Tone, Tom has a
It's
different
good.
take on that.
It's good.
Tom
Yeah.
has a different take on that.
One interesting thing is people have brought up is like, why does Obi-Wan look so old and Bo-Katan looks like so young? And it's like they're basically the same age. I think she's a bit younger, but then like Obi-Wan is super old.
That's a good point. I did think about that a little bit as well.
Just
But
species age differently, right?
They're both.
Mandalorian is not that far different than Obi-Wan. Whatever Obi-Wan is. He's got a planet, I know, but it's human. But yeah. Well, Obi-Wan is in his 50s. And so I guess Bo-Katan, she looks like mid-40s, maybe.
Did he have a relationship with her sister?
He had
Duchess Satine.
Duchess Satine, that was it. Were they related? Again, I don't know enough about the Clone Wars.
I know. I've been trying to get through it. There's so many episodes.
Yeah, and there's so many filler episodes too, unfortunately, where it's just kind of like you kind of lose the plot a little bit if you don't watch it consistently or you're not super engaged in it. But yeah, the Duchess Satine thing.
But they do interact at that stage, right? So
Oh
like,
yeah,
she's like an adult, and he's not super old yet. I'd say
Yeah.
there's about like a 10-year age difference. I would say.
yeah, that makes sense or so. Yeah, because Obi-Wan would be.
But she's like super young in Clone Wars. It's when she comes back in Rebels that she's older.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
But yeah,
She's
so,
probably younger than Anakin. And there's probably a 10-year age difference between Anakin and Obi-Wan,
something around there.
I would say.
But all right, in interest of time, what are your thoughts about what's coming next for The Mandalorian, for Star Wars in general? What has Star Wars Mandalorian Season 2 set up for you for the future?
I think we're going to find out more about Din Djarin's background, like how he got trained by the Mandalorians, how he got saved by them, and then also maybe a bit more about Moff Gideon's plan, and then also the Darksaber and Bo-Katan. I think it's going to like expand more on Mandalorian lore and that history, and I don't think Grogu is going to show up at all until maybe the very end.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like, I think it's going to focus on Mandalore. I like what you're saying around more of Din Djarin background. That actually also might give more Pedro Pascal mask off time, which he's been plugging for apparently. So that might kind of satisfy that need to do a little bit more of that and a little bit more backstory. And yeah, I got no problem with more Giancarlo Esposito. Be nice to know a little bit more about him.
For sure. I'm doing a called shot right now where I think at the end of season 3, like the last episode, is going to be like Yoda at the end of Clone Wars, where it's going to be like, begun, the Battle of Jakku has. And that's like everything of season 3 is going to lead up to the Battle of Jakku, which is that kind of culmination between the last hurrah between the rebels and the Imperials. But
Do they go there?
the deciding factor, I know what you're going to say, the deciding factor is going to be Mandalore and their commitment to which side they're going to play. And they won't be
Right.
able to decide that without a unified center, and that's where the power struggle is going to come into play between.
I could see Battle of Jakku stuff being where Din Djarin and Grogu actually reconnect. And are they on like on different sides?
Interesting.
I see. I predict too like a time jump from season 2 to
Yeah.
season 3. There's gonna be like a solid 5 to 10 years, and I could see maybe you don't see Grogu, and then maybe the second to last episode, Din Djarin's in like a tough spot, maybe not gonna make it, and then there's like a flash to like Grogu training. Maybe Grogu wants to cut his training short to save his friend, and looks like he'll do it.
Nice callback there.
Ooh,
And then maybe Grogu comes in for the save at the end.
I like that.
What do you guys think when Grogu finally talks? Is he going to sound like Yoda? And is that going to like ruin the mystique of cute Grogu being like,
Yeah,
I'm here to save you.
I could see not the voice being the same, because I think they won't go there. They won't kind of ruin, like you said, the mystique of Yoda. But I can still see the dialogue in which the way like he talks,
The grammar,
the grammar, the reverse of it all. Like I think that could be consistent with the species.
Mm-hmm.
but usually language in and of itself is like a taught thing, unless Grogu can talk,
interesting.
and he's just like had so much post-traumatic stress that he's just like this he's just reverted to an age where it was safe for him and he can't talk or decides not to, or it blocks it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then he picks it
When's
back
he-
up again. But yeah,
When's Grogu going to clue in that Luke Skywalker's dad killed all his friends? It's gonna be an awkward
shoot.
like adolescent conversation, like a birds and the bees, and your
Actually-
dad killed all my friends.
Here's the thing, though. Does Luke? I wonder, though, what would be interesting too is if we ever get a scene with Grogu and Luke, and maybe one of the reasons that Luke gets so disillusioned and so fearful of Ben is because he never knew that his dad killed kids and did all that, and Grogu kind of reveals that to him. And the reason he had hope for Darth Vader in the end that he could save him is because he didn't know how bad he was. And then, Grogu reveals like everything that really happened and shows it to him all, and he's so disillusioned and so mortified that when he starts to train Ben and sees even that glimmer of evil, he's like, I can end this.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good theory.
I like that.
The
Yeah.
truth is what we're probably all completely wrong.
Oh, of course.
I hope we are, because then
But
it
the
means it's
joy-
something new that we didn't
The
expect.
beauty of this podcast is talking about it.
Theorizing.
I still hope, though, that R2 is the one that saved Grogu. That's still mine.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was a beauty called shot. Yeah, that when Andy had revealed that you were the one that enlightened Andy into that theory as to like R2's wiggling back and forth excitement meant I recognize you. Hey.
Yeah. Well, because has
Remember
R2 ever been that excited about anyone?
Aside from seeing like Luke and the gang at the beginning, the end of A New Hope, where he's just like bouncing back and forth, but like that was more excited to see everyone again and show off that he's all better.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't necessarily.
I want to say that he has been excited before.
Because he's always kind of like, he's got a mind of his own, right? He's always kind of, bit of a jerk in a way. Like he's like, New Hope, he's going on his own. I don't even need you, C-3PO. I'm doing my mission. Do what you got to do. He doesn't seem like the sentimental type, but when he saw Grogu, he's like excited. So
yeah, I feel like there's another scene where he acts similarly, but I can't put my finger on it. I gotta think about that.
I don't got it. Not yet.
No.
Anyways, correction for next week. That's our homework right there to find out where R2 was excited.
I'm too excited.
I'm excited for that possibility. Yeah, that was a good season. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It just pumped my tires for Star Wars again entirely, and just like there's like as Princess Leia said, what do you have there? Hope.
Yeah.
For that being the like premier flagship series for Disney Plus, like it's got me interested in everything that they release, Star Wars related. Yep. Like I know I said like, oh, the Bad Batch, do we really care? And maybe like the animated stuff is a little bit harder for me to get into to commit to watch it, but like Mandalorian has like 100%. I will watch every show they put out, even if it's terrible. I will watch it till they stop airing it.
Yeah.
Just always waiting for that piece of like nostalgic reference or something that like ties the story or expands the canon or the universe.
Yeah.
Like I'll wait 12 episodes of a season that's crap just to get that one thing, right? Like they've got me hooked. It's
a rewatchable series because there's nuggets in there that if you don't have like the subtitles on and you can't hear what the background characters are saying, like you can see things that people are talking about. Like what I'm referring to specifically right now is in that episode, The Siege, that we were just talking about, that protocol droid who is the teacher in that classroom full of kids where they stick the baby Grogu in and they go off and do their business. They're going about their conversation, but you can hear the droid talking in the background. She's explained how the Kessel Run works. So the parsec is actually a unit of distance and not of speed. So that was like a big point of contention amongst all the Uber nerds out there. Like, well, how could he say he only made it in 12 parsecs? It's a unit of speed. So Kessel has, as this droid was talking about, has a dual orbit, which means at certain times it is closer to this one Maw cluster than the other, but it's not safe to pass through. So in order to safely pass through it, you have to go a certain distance. But if you can make it in that shorter distance, then that's like a point of bragging because like it's way too dangerous to be navigated safely. But again, that's just like a throwaway behind the scene line kind of thing that I just happened to find looking over some articles kind of thing. But I was like, oh shit, crazy son of a bitch. He just threw that in the background. Like, that's amazing. So again, it's the series that keeps on giving in my point of view anyways. But good times all around.
Just like Gina Carano's Instagram page.
That was a great chat about Mandalorian. I'm super excited just listening to everyone talk about it, like what's coming next, like lots of great ideas. Like I said, I think we all could be completely wrong or we all could be completely right and look like geniuses and get no credit for it. So whatever comes will come, but super excited for it. We want to thank everyone for hanging out with us again today. If you haven't already, please punch that subscribe button, give us a rating. We always appreciate it.
Yes, as Andy said, always appreciated. Ryan, thanks again for hopping on with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, this is I feel good things. The force is strong in this one. I can tell.
When COVID is over, you can come to Thanksgiving dinner again.
Yay.
Or Easter. What's next? Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Whatever comes first.
As long as I get some Jell-O casserole.
Yeah, jello casserole.
Ooh, delicious. Yes, you can, aside from the Jello casserole, you can find us on Instagram at Good Morning Alderaan. And if you have any questions, you can DM us on there or on Facebook, also Good Morning Alderaan. And, or you can email us, gmalderaan@gmail.com. Again, Ryan, thank you so much for hopping on with us here. On behalf of Ryan and Andy and myself, I just want to say thank you, everyone, so much for listening. And hey, always be a Jedi in the streets.
And a Sith in the sheets.
And what else, Ryan? And a Bespin Cloud Car driver.
Yes.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.